Following a loss to San Antonio and currently riding a 3-game losing streak, the Lakers are in desperate need of a win and could get it tonight against Miami. They're matching up with them following their near 40-point blowout last time around, which they could revenge this time around and get back on track. And now back on their own home court, they're in desperate need of a win, having won a game in about 2 weeks, primarily from that postponement, but they really do need to get back on track here. Even with that though, if they would win, would that be a long-term fix or simply a temporary patch? Well, according to many, it would simply be a little fix and not anything close to a permanent solution, as that will need to come through a trade. In fact, according to many, it will have to come through multiple trades, with them having a multitude of needs. One being at point guard, not having one besides LeBron and Austin Reeves, and they've really been struggling lately. Another one coming on the wing, needing one more reliable 3-and-D wing, and then finally at center, with them currently not having a reliable, true center behind Anthony Davis. And with that in mind here, could they actually make a trade that would address all three? Well, it might not be the big trade that you might be thinking of, but it actually might be possible, and we're going to take a look at a few trades that might address that need for them, giving them not only a point guard, a wing player, but then a center on top of it too, all within one trade. And again, don't be expecting a star player, or even a high leverage elite role player, nothing like that, but we are talking about getting 3 players back in return that would be rotational players for them, and again, at point guard, small forward or shooting guard, and at center, which in my opinion are their current 3 remaining needs. But before we get too far into it, let's go over our game day picks with Underdog Fantasy, the best way to get in on the NBA action this season. And if you're a new sign up, you can pick Steph Curry to have higher than 0.5 points later tonight. So yeah, take advantage of that free pick. And then if you want to follow along with me, you can pair that pick with my picks, and for pick number 1, I got Anthony Davis having higher than 0.5 assists during the first quarter, currently averaging about 1.5 per game during the first quarter, so I think he can get at least 1. Then for pick number 2, I got Bam Adebayo having higher than 8.5 rebounds. Last game against them he grabbed 10 in only about 24 minutes, so I think he can get at least 9. Then for my third and final pick, I got Max Christie having higher than 9.5 points. Has had higher than that in 4 of their past 5 games, so probably can do it again. But if you're looking to make your own picks, then be sure to check out Underdog Fantasy, and don't forget to use code JSM to get your free pick, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make a deposit. But now getting back to our topic, and again, we're going to go through a few trades out net that made point guard, a 3-and-D wing, and a center all in one. So without further ado, we'll head over to Portland and make a trade with them involving Gabe Vincent, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and Jackson Hayes with 2 second-round draft picks for Matisse Thybulle, Delano Banton, and Duop Reath. I've talked about a trade with Delano Banton and Duop Reath, but how about simply making the combined package with Matisse Thybulle? With him, you get the 3-and-D wing, more of a defender than a 3-point shooter, but has shot fairly well from 3 lately. Last season about 35%, the season before that one about 36.5%, with fairly good corner 3-point shooting and borderline elite defense on top of it. Yeah, I know they're getting back Jared Vanderbilt, or hopefully will be, but then again, it's never a bad thing to have good and multiple good defenders, and that's what Matisse Thybulle could be for them. Then with Delano Banton, maybe not the most reliable point guard option, but is a point guard, can be a primary ball handler, can do some primary playmaking, and will be a bit better in that primary point guard role compared to Gabe Vincent. And then along with that is 6'9", can defend multiple positions, and is a versatile player overall. Then finally for Duop Reath, I like him. He might be a 28-year-old second-year NBA player, but is a stretch big, a fairly athletic big, and one with good size. So in my opinion, it would be a good foundational trade that would give them a point guard, a 3-and-D wing, and a center all in one. Yes, they would have to give up Gabe Vincent. Some of you might not care about that, although he's been playing a little bit better lately. Jalen Hood-Schifino, not a big deal. And then Jackson Hayes with 2 second-round draft picks. It's actually pretty impressive that they can address all 3 of their needs with only Gabe Vincent's contract, not trading Hachimura or even a guy like Austin Reeves with him, and that's the only trade that we can do this with. But if you're instead looking to trade Rui Hachimura, then we could head over to a trade with the Toronto Raptors, trading away Rui Hachimura with Gabe Vincent and Jackson Hayes with draft compensation for Kelly Olynyk, Davion Mitchell, and Ochai Agbaji. Likely looking at giving up a protected first-round draft pick here, and this actually would be a pretty solid return. It would involve trading Hachimura, so you can expect a bit more here, both in regard to salary and players in return, but I think it would be a pretty good return package for them. Kelly Olynyk being that center, is a stretch big, not a great defender or rim protector, but a very versatile offensive big, both a good 3-point shooter, a very good passer for a big, and can do a little bit of self-creation as well. Then for Davion Mitchell, actually is a point guard unlike Gabe Vincent, or at least not a true point guard. Davion Mitchell can kind of fill that role, with replacing and replicating his defense and 3-point shooting on top of it. Then finally for Ochai Agbaji, I mentioned him a lot lately and for good reason too. May or may not be available, but then again for the right price I think anybody's available, or mostly anybody, and definitely pretty much every role player, and I definitely would like to have him. A good defender, can defend multiple positions, a tough defender, only 24 years old and has become a really good 3-point shooter, shooting a career high 40% from the 3-point line this season, with really good corner 3-point shooting, and spot up catch and shoot shooting, which would be a good fit for this team. And between the three of them, they would fit the Lakers' needs, being that 3-and-D wing with Ochai Agbaji, that point guard who is not a liability on defense with Davion Mitchell, and then stretch big and simply a better, more reliable backup center with Kelly Olynyk. Yes, they would be giving up Hachimura here, but I think it might be worth it. If they're getting back Jared Vanderbilt, with now having Dorian Finney-Smith, and then with Cam Reddish back those two up, I think it might be worth it, losing a little bit of offense, but overall getting back better fits, and again, simply what they currently need on this team right now. That being a center, point guard, and 3-and-D wing. But then for our third and final trade, this one might be my favorite one, and probably the hardest one to pull off, but would be with the Chicago Bulls. Here we'd be trading Rui Hachimura with Cam Reddish and Jackson Hayes with draft compensation for a combination of Jalen Smith, Ayo Dosunmu, and Torrey Craig. Gotta keep in mind here that we can't go over the tax with them. Believe it or not, the Bulls have not paid the tax in about 2 decades now, only one time in about 25 years if I remember correctly, and believe it or not, that does happen to be true. So you do gotta keep the tax in mind here. They likely don't want to pay it and are not willing to pay it for a trade like this one. So you can't include a guy like Jalen Hood-Schifino or Gabe Vincent and have them take back more money in return here. With that in mind though, I do like the return package. Jalen Smith would be a center option. He's both a fairly good defender, solid rim protector, and a stretch big as well. So he could play with Anthony Davis in offense and be a good fit in that regard, and likely fit within Redick's system. Then for our point guard option, here we got Ayo Dosunmu. Maybe not a true point guard either, kind of a point guard shooting guard combo, but definitely has played point guard and does play point guard fairly often. This season averaging a new career high 4.8 assists per game to only 1.3 turnovers per game, nearly a 3 assist to turnover ratio. And then to go along with it, averaging about 13 points per game on 49% shooting from the field, albeit only 32% from 3, but is a 36.2% career 3-point shooter with good corner 3-point shooting with it as well. And not to mention shot about 40% from beyond the arc last season, so nothing really to worry about. Then finally we got Torrey Craig, a guy that I mentioned about 2 days ago, and although he is 34 now, continues to be a good 3-and-D wing. Currently is hurt, but when healthy, is a really good 3-point shooter, kind of blossomed into a 3-point sharpshooter after turning 32. Not sure how that works, but I definitely take it. Then remains a good physical defender, can match up with positions 2 through 4, even defend some small ball centers, and does have prior background defending Anthony Davis, so he actually remember it too. And all around I think it would be a solid return package for them. The tough one to get here would probably be Ayo Dosunmu, Jalen Smith a little bit as well. They're both fairly young yet and could technically fit the Bulls rebuild, but if you'd offer them a protected first round draft pick with maybe a second round draft pick or a pick swap with it, I think they'd think about it and maybe budge on it too. And if that would be the case, I'd definitely be happy with that return package. Yes, giving up Hachimura again here, but getting back 3 good fits and 3 needs for their team too. Again, being that center with Jalen Smith, that point guard shooting guard combo with Ayo Dosunmu, and a 3-and-D wing option with Torrey Craig. Getting more 3-point shooting, more playmaking, more rim protection, and more floor spacing at the 5. Pretty much everything they need. And with that being said, I think that'll do it for our trades, and what do you guys think? How do you feel about the return packages, what they'd be getting here, what they'd be giving up here, and overall the combination of a point guard, small forward, shooting guard, wing, and a center all in one? Do you like the trades, or if you don't like the trades, let me know the combination of a point guard, 3-and-D wing, and a center that you'd make a trade for, as I cannot really find any more than these 3 that I'd be willing to make anyways. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think that'll pretty much do it for this one though, and if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.